Have you ever met someone, heard their name perfectly clearly, and then, poof, forgotten it literally 5 seconds later? Today on Mastery of English, we're diving deep into the neuroscience of memory and attention to figure out exactly why names disappear from your brain, like disappearing ink.
You know the feeling, right? You're standing there, smiling awkwardly, while your brain frantically searches every corner going, "Come back information." And yet somehow you can still perfectly remember random song lyrics from a decade ago. So why does your brain do this? Well, spoiler alert, it's not a glitch. It is just basic biology.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll look at the disappearing name mystery, cover some essential memory vocabulary, explain why your brain forgets, talk about stress, faces, and names, look at how to improve your memory, and finish up with some practice sentences. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Essential Memory Vocabulary, the Toolkit.
First up, we have attention, which is simply the focus of your mind on something. For example, my attention disappeared during the lecture. Notice how your brain actually uses attention as the absolute first step in the memory process. Seriously, without it, the information doesn't even enter the system.
Next is memory, defined as the ability to store and remember information. What's really fascinating here is the reminder in our example sentence, human memory is powerful but imperfect. It's a highly complex processing system, and it's actually vulnerable to errors at every single stage.
Our third word is overload, meaning too much information or pressure at once. Think about the constant, endless stream of sounds, faces, movement, and thoughts you encounter every single second. As researchers point out, human attention has a strictly limited scope. Without a heavy filter, your brain would just completely overload.
Word number 4 is association, which is a mental connection between two things. Creating associations really helps people remember names, mostly because you're taking a new, kind of meaningless sound and linking it to a strong, pre-existing mental image. Fifth, we have anxiety, defined as a feeling of nervousness or worry. And keep in mind, anxiety isn't just an emotion. It actually triggers real biological reactions that can severely affect your memory and concentration.
And finally, our sixth word is repetition, meaning doing or saying something again and again. Repetition is essentially the mechanical tool we can use to force short-term transient information right into permanent long-term storage.
Section 2. Why your brain forgets, the neuroscience.
This brilliantly illustrates our first major hurdle, a total lack of emotional meaning. Just look at the difference here. If someone says, "Hi, I'm Daniel," your brain hears it, sure, but it assigns it super low priority. But if they say, "Hi, I'm Daniel, and I survived a lightning strike," well, your brain is instantly hooked. Your brain's memory centers aggressively filter out boring, simple labels, but they instantly latch onto emotion, unusual experiences, stories, or danger. Names, all by themselves, just completely lack that emotional hook.
Aside from that lack of emotional meaning, another huge reason we forget names is divided attention. Think about it. During an introduction, we are rarely fully focused on the other person. Instead, our attention is usually totally consumed by our own internal monologue. We're worrying about what to say next, how we look, whether our handshake was weird, and just generally trying to make a good impression. Because our working memory is tied up with all those thoughts, the name literally never properly encodes.
Deep inside your medial temporal lobe is the hippocampus. This is the key structure responsible for memory consolidation. And the hippocampus basically requires this exact formula to convert a short-term passing thought into a permanent long-term memory. Attention plus meaning plus repetition. If you're distracted, or if the name lacks meaning, the formula fails, and boom, the memory just vanishes.
Section 3. Stress, faces, and names, the biological roadblocks. It is incredibly common to recognize a face, but completely blank on the name, right? Well, why? Because your brain actually has highly specialized neural systems just for facial recognition. Faces contain rich data, emotions, movement, expressions, deep visual detail. Names, on the other hand, are typically encoded merely as acoustic sounds. And to make things worse, if you're in a stressful situation, like a job interview, your body releases cortisol. The stress hormone directly interferes with the hippocampus, disrupting memory formation and making it nearly impossible to store that simple acoustic sound.
Section 4. How to improve memory. Actionable hacks.
Okay, so the most powerful method to fix this is creating visual associations. By taking a simple acoustic name like Sarah and immediately creating a strange, highly visual mental image, like Sarah wearing an astronaut suit on the moon. You totally bypass the brain's filter. You're giving your brain the visual story and the deeper meaning it desperately craves. Combined with immediate repetition, like saying, "Nice to meet you, Sarah," out loud, you dramatically increase the chances of the hippocampus locking that information down for good.
Section 5. Practice sentences. Locking it in.
Let's lock in what we've learned by practicing our new vocabulary in context. Feel free to read these aloud with me. My brain forgets names very quickly. And stress can affect memory and concentration. Reading this really reinforces exactly how the biological release of stress hormones chemically disrupts your focus.
Let's keep going. Repetition helps information stay in long-term memory. Anxiety sometimes makes people forget simple things. Notice how the vocabulary words repetition and anxiety perfectly summarize the two opposing forces acting on your hippocampus right now. One helps build the neural pathway, the other actively blocks it. Finally, read these aloud. Creating associations improves memory. The human brain processes massive amounts of information every second. And this brilliantly illustrates our final takeaway. Because your brain is forced to process a massive data overload every single second of the day, intentional associations are absolutely your best defense against your brain's natural tendency to just forget.
So, let's quickly summarize what we've learned. The absolutely crucial point here is that forgetting names is perfectly normal. You don't have a bad memory. Your brain is just efficiently and aggressively filtering out data that lacks an emotional story. You forget because names lack meaning, your attention is divided by your own thoughts, stress hormones like cortisol block the hippocampus, and ultimately, your brain just massively prefers stories and rich visuals over simple sounds.
But now that you know the formula, attention, meaning, and repetition, you can actually take control of how your brain stores information. Thank you so much for watching today's explainer on mastery of English. If you enjoyed this explainer, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into neuroscience, psychology, and English mastery. And before you go, let us know in the comments below, what is the absolute fastest you've ever forgotten someone's name? We've all been there. See you next time.